Could 2017 be the year of the home flipper? Wall Street Journal out with a story today entitled, "As Home Prices Rise, Flippers Make a Comeback." The market for house flipping loans is expected to reach about $48 billion in total sales volume this year. It's the highest since 2006 pre-crisis levels, and that's based on a new report out from housing research firm ATTOM. Adam, let's bring in Daren Blomquist, who led the research on home flipping at ATTOM. Good to have you here.
Nice to be here. Thanks for having me.
All right, so the dollar volume's a lot when we talk about the number of loans to do this house flipping. But how many houses are actually being flipped per quarter, and how does that compare to the peak of the market before the crisis?
Well, we're on track for 2016 to see about 192,000 properties flipped, homes flipped in the single-family homes and condos for 2016. It's a 10-year high. It's the highest we've seen since 2006, but it does actually still pale in comparison. Back at the height of flipping in the last housing boom in 2005, we saw over 330,000 homes flipped during that year alone.
All right, so when people think, oh my gosh, could we be going back to a crisis because flipping is back, we shouldn't be thinking about it in that crazy context of back then.
No, we're not quite seeing the crazy levels of flipping that we saw back 10 years ago or over 10 years ago, but we're starting to see some of the earmarks of some of the flipping things that we saw going on 10 years ago.
Such as?
Well, one of the things is when you look at the number of people flipping, that's one concerning item that we have. That's at a 9-year high. We're on track, or actually through the first 3 quarters of this year, more than 111,000 entities flipped homes, and that was the highest we've seen since 2007. And that's an indication that you're seeing more kind of what I would call bandwagon flippers jumping into the market and trying to make a quick buck because the housing market is going up so rapidly again.
You guys also have a cool stat, gross profit per flip.
Yes.
It reached a high back in 2005. What was it? And we're back there again, right? We're showing people the chart on the screen right now, and people are making how much per transaction on average?
Well, yeah, and that's what's drawing people, these bandwagon flippers, back into the market, is on average, and they're making over $60,000 per flip. Now, that's a gross profit, the difference between what they buy it for and what they sell it for. But if you can make that kind of gross profit and the average time to flip is about 180 days in 6 months, that's a pretty attractive return for a lot of investors. Sure,
but you have to fix them up sometimes, a lot of times.
Yes.
There's cost when it comes to the financing. Where is it happening mostly, and what price range on houses?
Well, the core bread and butter for the flippers are between $100,000 and $200,000. More than a third of all flips are on homes in that range. But we're seeing more markets, kind of middle American markets, that are seeing a lot of home flipping. Memphis is number one. More than 11% of all sales there in the third quarter were home flips. Places like Miami, Tampa, Orlando, Las Vegas, and Phoenix, kind of the places you would think of that might be on a reality TV show, were showing up. Some of the surprising places where we're seeing really high profits in flipping are places like Cleveland and Pittsburgh and Philadelphia and Baltimore and New Orleans. Well, that's where you can find, as a flipper, a discounted inventory. Now, it's usually distressed inventory that needs more fixing up. But in those markets, the average flip was making a 90% gross return on investment in those homes, in those properties. And one of the things that stood out, and that ties into those types of markets, is flippers that's different than 10 years ago is the average age of homes that are being flipped in 2016 is 38 years old. Think of maybe a Tom Brady or a Peyton Manning. But if you go back 10 years ago, the average age of a home being flipped was just 21 years old, more like a Dak Prescott. So it's a different type of home.
Got it.
And it needs more work in this flipping environment.
Got it. Super interesting. Daren, thanks so much.
Thank you.